Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a philosophical war for the very soul of reality itself, all told through one hero's incredible journey of self-creation, forged right in the crucible of the fifth world. So, let's kick things off with a truly terrifying choice. Imagine being faced with two different ways for everything to end, two equally complete forms of nothingness. The entire conflict we're exploring today really boils down to this one single impossible question. It's a reminder that sometimes the biggest threats aren't about armies and weapons, but about ideas. So you've got these two nightmares, right? On one side, you have the tyranny of the absolute, this perfect diamond prison of sterile logic. And on the other, the tyranny of the relative, a reality of dissolving ink where there's no truth at all. Both paths, they lead to total oblivion. All right, let's dig into that first horror, shall we? Let's talk about the absolute tyranny of perfect, cold, logical order. So meet Vrildox. He calls himself the last thinker. And you gotta understand, this guy isn't your typical villain driven by things like passion or greed. No, his entire being is logic. He looks at the universe, and he doesn't see wonder. He sees a huge, sloppy, flawed equation that absolutely needs a solution. His goal isn't conquest, it's correction. He's not trying to rule reality, he wants to completely re-engineer it into a single, perfect state that's defined top to bottom by his own flawless logic. He literally wants to solve existence. And this is where it gets really chilling. The horror of him winning isn't destruction, it's perfection. It's a cosmic prison of perfect reason, a place where your free will is just a logical fallacy to be corrected. All of existence would be calcified, frozen into one single, unchanging, and ultimately lifeless state. Okay, so that's one side of the coin. Now let's flip it completely over and look at its polar opposite. A universe that's not just true, but a universe of absolute, meaningless chaos. And this is where we meet the continuist. But here's the thing. He's not really a person. He's a process that's been given a form. He is the living embodiment of the retcon, that constant rewriting of history. He's basically a self-aware force of narrative decay. His goal? It's kind of wild. He wants to reduce all of reality to what he calls ultimate pulp, a universe where everything is sensational, constantly changing, and completely meaningless. For a guy like him, stability is the one true blasphemy. So how does he do it? Through something called narrative decay. He doesn't just destroy a city, he steals its cohesion. He can dump 1,000 contradictory histories on it overnight, making it a bustling metropolis, a Viking settlement, and a post-apocalyptic ruin, all at the same time. All right, so we have our two cosmic nightmares set up, the cage of perfect order and the abyss of total chaos. And right in the middle of that, that's where we find our hero. And Vampirella's whole personal crisis? It's basically this huge cosmic war, but playing out inside her own head. As she tells her therapist, her own identity is a complete battleground of conflicting stories, and she can't even tell what's real anymore. And there's actually a philosophical term for what she's feeling: ressentiment. It's this deep, soul-crushing frustration and powerlessness that comes from being just a passive object in your own life story, totally haunted by values that you never even chose. And the architect of all this pain? Well, it's her own mother, Lilith. She used this magic mirror to constantly mess with Vampirella's memories. It's a brilliant move, really, taking the real-world editorial process of the retcon and making it a source of genuine, in-universe psychological horror. So she's trapped, right? Caught between Vrildox's perfect prison and the continuous sea of lies. There's no winning on their terms. Her only way out is to forge a new path entirely, the path of the fifth world. And this is the moment everything changes for her. After all that pain, she has this huge realization. There is no single, true origin story for her to find. The chaos, the lies, the manipulation by her mother, that wasn't a flaw in her story, it was her story. With this new understanding, she embraces what's called the Dionysian spirit. And this is a choice to do way more than just accept chaos. It's about harnessing it. It's like reaching all the way back to that raw, unfiltered will to exist, that primal cry of the first world, and transforming that raw instinct into a source of incredible power. By doing this, she becomes something else.
a figure kind of like what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, the overhuman. She's no longer defined by the identities that were forced upon her, but by her sheer will to decide who she's going to become.
And this is who she is now. Vampirella, the self-begotten. She didn't pick a side in the war between absolute order and absolute chaos. Instead, she rose above the entire conflict by mastering the crucible where they meet, becoming the one and only author of her own being. Which leaves us with a final, really provocative thought, one that's kind of the whole point of this explainer. In a world of competing stories, what is the ultimate act of freedom? Is it about finding the one true story? Or is it about having the courage to grab the pen and write your own?